This might just be the most painful thing you'll hear in a long time. The anguished voice of a mother crying for her daughter who'd just been kidnapped right before her eyes. It happened right on the street. The suspect grabbed the child and sped away, leaving the mother sprawled on the floor. You can see her running through the street, distraught as she calls for help.
Help me! Help me, please! My daughter just got kidnapped!
A day after the kidnapping, police got a tip that proved fruitful. The kidnapper had hunkered down at a hotel with his victim. The cops wasted no time. Armed to the teeth, they swarmed the hotel. Using a battering ram, they smashed in the door to the room where the suspect is suspected to be hiding and pulled out the suspect who appeared to be naked. He's 51-year-old Michael Webb. Inside, they found the little girl inside a laundry basket. Here's another angle of the moment the cops broke into the hotel room to grab Webb and rescue the little girl from his devilish hands.
Fort Police Department, open the door! Open the door! Open it now! Break it. Open it! Door. Hands! Let me see your hands! Step out here! Step out! Step out!
Get him.
On the ground.
Shield.
Get on the ground!
Shield.
Blood in the bed, blood in the bed. Blood in the bed, man. Hey, here she is.
Got her. We got her.
We got her. Yes. Hey, buddy. Oh, yeah. I got her.
She's in custody. We have her.
We need an EMT. Get call MedStar.
Yes.
No, don't worry about your clothes. Don't worry about your clothes.
You can hear the rage and relief in the voices of these officers when they find her. "We got her," one said as they carried the child to the car.
We got her. Hold the door. Hey, back off, guys. Back off. Please, just back off.
Riz, they found her. We have her.
Hey, Hayes, let's go. Let's get her in here so she can sit down. Guys, listen. Just stay there for me, okay? Hey, do me a favor. Can you?
This is the father.
Okay. Just hold on, okay?
What is this place called? What's this called?
It's the Woodbridge Suites.
Woodward Suites?
It's in Forest Hill.
Webb has been sentenced to life in prison, as it should be. He won't get another chance to do this to another chance ever again. Have you ever lost a 1-year-old baby? I don't think anything could be as devastating as that. Little Tinley Sage West was sleeping in her parents' SUV when the car was stolen. Carjackers are often focused on the front seat and making a quick getaway, so they ignore anything in the back seat. Here's the heartwarming moment when the car was found abandoned with little Tinley still sitting placidly in the back seat.
Or if you will put me out on the call, please. You're alright, baby. You're alright.
The officer quickly checks the child out, making sure she's okay before lifting her out of the car. Even as she cries, a sigh of relief would escape you simply because the child is safe, unharmed, and will shortly be reunited with her parents. Cases of carjacking occurring with a child in the backseat have become quite rampant, and parents need to be a little more careful with their kids to avoid such incidents. It was 8 p.m. when a man was seen walking with a kid towards the Coeur d'Alene parasail boot. They looked quite the ordinary sight and not out of place in the least. The boy's just 10 while the man looks old enough to be his father. Watch the two walk like father and child. The narrative changed moments later when the pair walked up to the parasail boot. The boy ran behind the owner, Rodriguez, and said, "I don't know that man and he's not my dad." The man feigned surprised and insisted that he was the boy's father, but the parasail owner and his staff sensed something was up. The first thing they did was protect the child while they asked the man a few questions. The man simply said he'd go get the boy's mom. The moment the man walked off, Rodriguez called the cops, but he didn't stop there. He left the kid with staff and followed the man, certain that he was up to no good. Rodriguez kept updating the police as he trailed the man. You can see a cut of Rodriguez trailing the man and a separate shot of the staff tasked with keeping the child safe. Police soon arrived on one scene and the suspect was arrested thanks to Rodriguez and the decision to keep a keen eye on his movements. If we had more people like Rodriguez and his staff, the world would be a better place. Also makes you wonder where the kids' parents were while all this went on. This video is a terribly disturbing one and will have you shedding a tear or two for the victim who was lucky to survive the harrowing experience. 30-year-old Kayla Brown was kidnapped by a suspected serial killer. The serial killer, Todd Colip, lured Kayla and her lover Charles David to his property on the pretext of offering them a landscaping job. This happened in September of 2016. When the lovers arrived on scene, they met the shock of their lives as Colip killed David and locked Kayla up in a metal shipping container after chaining her neck, feet, and hands. Hearing shouts from inside the metal container, police swung into action and broke the door to find the shocking sight of Kayla Brown in chains with her spirit almost beaten. Watch the moment she was discovered in November of 2016, 2 months after she was kidnapped and held hostage.
Just a girl. How are you, honey? This is
bolt cutters.
This is our best. He's a paramedic.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get you out of there. Okay. Just hang loose for me. Anybody got? I need a handcuff.
Colip confessed to murdering about 7 people and has been sentenced to life in prison. The Bryant family ring camera captured the disturbing moment a strange man stopped his car to talk to their young son late at night. The little boy had just stepped out of the house alone to take the dog out. The moment he stepped out, a BMW pulled up and stopped, and a strange man got out of the car and started to walk towards the boy. You can notice the fear in the boy's face as he freezes up, unable to put words together. Things could have gone sideways from here, but the boy's father noticed a strange man and stepped out to confront him. The family reported the incident to the police, but the stranger and his car were gone faster than you could say poof. The cops patrolled the area but couldn't find the BMW.
Brian says thankfully her husband noticed something was wrong.
What you got to ask my son?
I was wondering about the airplane.
My son ain't got no adult out here. That's kind of creepy.
The Bryant family has raised the alarm to warn their neighbors to stay vigilant to avoid dangers associated with situations like the one their son faced. Nothing is as disturbing as watching a child in danger of any sort. The little girl sitting alone in a cold, dark parking lot has had a torrid day. Earlier, her mother's car was reportedly stolen with the girl inside. But this heartwarming moment is the exact time a police officer found the little girl sitting all by herself in a dark parking lot. The child was motionless, cold, and scared when the cop found her.
Hey, sweetheart. You okay? Come here. Come here. She's okay. She's okay. She's getting warm. You're okay, baby.
The child's mother was running an errand inside the store and left the child inside this car. This is a dangerous thing to do. Parents should be aware of the dangers of leaving their kids in a car to run a quick errand. We've seen this go awry too many times. In this case, a carjacker made away with the car and the little girl inside. Here's the emotional moment mother and daughter were reunited. You can hear the joyful outcry as the child is restored to the mother.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. You said warmer his ear. Are you okay, sweetie? Hi, baby girl.
Whatever you do, keep your kids close, and don't leave them in the car to run errands. The Columbia County Sheriff's Office in Wisconsin began receiving frantic 911 calls around 3 a.m. The calls described an extremely unusual, extremely unfortunate event. A woman's car was stolen, with her still inside of it.
Shaw County has the female on the phone now. They are going westbound.
10-4. She see anything?
The unidentified woman was taking a nap in the back seat of her car while her husband went inside the Love's truck stop they were parked at. She woke up into a nightmare as her car was being driven erratically at high speeds by a complete stranger. The footage of the incident begins with dashcam footage from the police pursuit vehicle. Radio chatter as the officer communicated back and forth with the station can be heard behind the roar of the engine as the vehicle picks up speed.
33, just passing SUV at 188 County Road, J.
The officer states he's going over 90 miles per hour, yet is still not catching up to the suspect. He requests spike strips to slow the vehicle down.
Try and get some statements this way too, please.
33, if somebody can get spikes at 188 and 60.
After several minutes of pursuit, the officer finally catches up to the kidnapper. He continues to communicate the situation with the station as the other vehicle approaches the spike trap that's been requested.
33, looks like negative spikes. We're going to be heading eastbound State Highway 60. Intersection of Pulvermacher, Highway 60, no traffic, roads are clear.
Unfortunately, the clearly intoxicated driver seems to avoid the trap and the pursuit continues. The officer calls out that he's now traveling in excess of 100 miles per hour, and the kidnapper is still outrunning him.
33, we're 100 miles an hour, westbound 60, approaching Pulvermacher.
But then there's a glimmer of hope.
33, just lost a tire. Vehicle appears to be spiked, still going. On the rims, looks like we're going to be coming to a stop. Barda and 60, suspect still going.
The spike trap had actually been effective despite not looking that way initially. The vehicle loses a tire and decreases in speed exponentially, allowing the officer to keep pace with it. The offending vehicle keeps on going as a second tire flies off. He's driving into the oncoming traffic lane.
We're coming around the big S curbs, still approaching Barda Road. Looks like suspect's losing a second tire now. 33, Suspect is in oncoming lane of traffic, westbound, oncoming lane of traffic, eastbound.
The footage then cuts to a different officer who's setting up another spike trap farther down the road. This trap also appears to miss, but the officer setting up the trap confirms that they worked. The high-speed pursuit continues as several other police vehicles join the chase. The kidnapper refuses to stop, despite going off the road at least once before regaining control of the car. Tireless wheels don't tend to be very easy to maneuver, and the car only has a single complete wheel at this point.
33 approaching the four corners. Appears all four tires are deflated. We're at low ice shell.
At some time, the pursuing police decide it's time to stop the chase once and for all. Since the suspect refuses to stop or pull over, they have to stop him by force. The footage perfectly captures the moment that the lead police vehicle rams the rear passenger side of the vehicle, causing the kidnapper's car to fishtail, skid off the road, and slam into a barrier before police cars move in to pin it down.
33, I copy. Successful then. 33, I've pinned him with my squad.
The collision and subsequent slam were violent enough to activate the car's airbags, which obscured the officer's view of the inside of the vehicle. They proceed with caution to extract the kidnapper and make sure the woman's okay.
3331 at gunpoint. Have EMS on standby. Full airbag deployment.
I'm gonna come around this side and we're gonna open that door. I have a cane on you. We'll get bit. Keep your hands up.
Hands are up. I can see hands up.
Passenger side. Come around and get this.
Where's the female at?
Hands are up.
Back passenger door.
The footage perspective changes several times, but it's clear that a canine unit is on the scene to deter any kind of escape attempt by the kidnapper. The suspect is told to remain still as the airbags are cut away and removed.
Slow down, get her out. Keep your hands there, do not move! Do not move!
The scene is tense as the canine barks at the kidnapper, the police yell orders, and the suspect himself is shouting that he doesn't have any weapons. Eventually, the kidnapper manages to exit the vehicle before being tackled to the ground by an overzealous officer.
Put your hands behind your head! Put your hands behind your head! Josh, it's okay. We got it. I'm not taking no chances. Your hands have been searched.
I'm not doing anything.
Even the other police officers have to calm this particular cop down, who says, "I'm not taking any chances." The kidnapper is placed in handcuffs and police return to the vehicle to check it for any kind of evidence, but not before the footage cuts back to the canine's handler, who commends it for doing a good job.
Oh boy, you talk about oh boy!
What a good boy indeed. With that, the kidnapped woman's worst nightmare is over, and the police approach her to see if she'd like any medical attention. She declines, but she's definitely shaken up by the entire ordeal, and who wouldn't be?
Thank you so much.
Do you want EMS to check out?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
Thank you.
Are you sure?
Yes, I just scared because he was driving like crazy. And I couldn't talk with him. He didn't want to stop. I don't know if he's crazy or what happened with him.
Okay. You're okay.
I am.
Are you sure?
Definitely.
Okay.
I'm just scared.
I'll be back to talk to you in a few minutes, okay?
Okay.
My name is Sergeant Stage. You can just call me Ron, okay?
Okay.
Once the dust settled, the police learned that the kidnapper's name was Kyle M. Wagner, a 51-year-old male from New York. It was later revealed that he'd had used fentanyl and meth within 24 hours of the kidnapping, evidence of which was found in his own vehicle after it was searched. Kyle was charged with felony eluding, false imprisonment, operating a motor vehicle without consent, reckless driving and endangerment, operating a vehicle while intoxicated, possession of meth, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possibly others. This homeowner's security camera captured the moment a man tried to abduct a 17-year-old high school student. It wasn't a single attempt. He tried to grab the girl 3 times, but each time she managed to break free. Some of his attempts were off the frame of the camera, but here you can see his initial attempt. He appears to have been following the girl and suddenly he tried to grab her, but she broke free. He followed her, made a second attempt, and she managed to break free again. Something made him turn back and walk away, but the camera angle means we don't get to see what it may have been. Police confirmed this to be an attempted kidnapping and believe the gray vehicle that left the scene moments later belonged to the kidnapper. Police intensified a patrol along the area to ensure the safety of other students who took the same route as the young lady in the video. The young lady is fierce, and though she had no one to help her, she didn't let that stop her. She fought off her attacker. Putting up a little fight might be all you need to survive in such situations. Melvin Porter had a tumultuous relationship with a woman you see running scared on screen. According to reports, he'd walked into the lady's workplace a few days earlier, acting aggressively, but by the next, the case took a drastic turn. Melvin kidnapped an employee of his ex-girlfriend at gunpoint. His ex was forced to make a deal with him and trade herself for her employee. She was smart and had the cops on the phone as she rode in the car with Porter. She left her line open, allowing the cops to listen in. As they neared a Shell gas station on the East X freeway in Splendora, she begged her ex to allow her to use the bathroom. It was that move that allowed her to escape and run towards the protective arms of the waiting officers.
You're okay. You're all right. You're okay.
The police swooped in and tried to arrest Porter, but that ended very badly for Porter, who reached for a gun and was punished for it. Kidnappers are predators, and oftentimes theirs is a crime of opportunity. In this shop, notice the two men who walk in looking like regular customers. Like everyone else, they look to be interested in making a purchase, but what they're really after is something more sinister. The moment they noticed an unaccompanied 11-year-old girl, their focus switched to that child. Watch closely to see the child in a denim jacket. One of the men hung just outside the store, waiting for the little girl to step out of it. The moment she's out, he approaches her and asks if she's alone. They stand speaking for a few minutes, and it appears the man has managed to convince the little girl to come with him. The question triggered a woman who had taken note of the man's suspicious movements. She didn't miss a beat, swooping in immediately to take the young girl away from the man. She asks him to leave and invites the little girl to stay with her. It's heartwarming to see people look out for the vulnerable like this woman just did. Here's another moment where the vigilance of a stranger stops what could have been a catastrophic situation for this victim. The man in the seemingly innocuous-looking clip had carjacked the woman with him while claiming to have a weapon on him. The scared woman drove around town with him at some point during this very heart-wrenching ride, and he had forced her to stop at ATMs in town where they withdrew some money before ending up at this gas station store where everything takes a sharp turn. The kidnapper's smart. He walks a few steps behind the woman, keeping his hand hidden in his pocket. As they walk into the store, he even gives a few friendly waves to the store clerk, making sure to appear casual and unbothered. But the store clerk wasn't fooled by his antics. He sensed something was wrong. He watched the kidnapper and his victim walk by and try using the in-store ATM. When they couldn't withdraw cash, they went over to the counter where the suspect used the victim's ATM to buy cigarettes. The moment they try to leave, the store clerk swings into action. The kidnapper had gone out of the door ahead of his victim. It was at this moment the clerk jumped in front of the woman, unbothered by the kidnapper's threat of a concealed weapon. You can see the kidnapper reach into his pocket as the clerk confronts him outside the store. The clerk didn't just call the cops. He put himself in harm's way boldly and insisted that the woman wasn't going anywhere with the strange-looking man. What did the kidnapper do when he saw the clerk's unwavering boldness? He fled in the woman's car. Police caught up with the car later, arrested the kidnapper, and retrieved the stolen vehicle. We advise a quick 911 call if you ever witness a similar incident. This would have been a lot worse if the kidnapper really had a weapon on him. The clerk may have lost a limb or his life, but how grateful are we to kind and watchful strangers? It begins with dashcam footage of a vehicle being pulled over. Then police have the driver exit and move away from the vehicle. Every officer visible is heavily armed.
Hey, Be Hill, get on your PA! Be Hill, get on your PA! Call him up!
Even before the driver exits the vehicle, one of the officers can be heard saying, "There's a passenger," multiple times.
There's a passenger! There is a passenger!
The dashcam continues for several minutes as the passenger exits the vehicle and is then patted down for weapons or dangerous objects.
Hands up! Hands up, passenger! Get on the ground, passenger! All the way! Yeah, I got passenger.
The passenger is a person with long hair and a hoodie, though it's not clear if it's a man or a woman at this point in the footage.
Watch it, there's movement. Don't move, don't you move. Stay down. Yep, sir.
After 3.5 minutes, the footage changes perspective to a chest cam, which gives us a better look at the driver as he backs away from the car. It's a male suspect wearing suspenders and a t-shirt, but curiously, he's barefoot. The image is obscured by the officer's rifle for a short period of time, but then another officer walks up to the suspect with a spine-tingling question. Where's the key at? To the chains?
Where's the key at? In the ignition. To the chains.
Just over 4 minutes into the footage, you can tell that this is no ordinary traffic stop. The driver is then seen being placed in the back of the police vehicle as we can see the passenger being patted down from another angle before they are also put in the back seat. It appears as if they're also not wearing shoes. The footage continues from the same perspective as the officer jogs up to the car that was pulled over. As he gets closer, another cop can be heard saying, "Get a camera on this thing."
Yeah, put a camera on this thing.
What happens next will shock you to your core. A woman, shaking and frantically crying. Prior to the officer asking about the key to the chains, she was chained down by her neck where she now sits.
Do you need me to say anything about what happened or anything?
Don't worry about it. Just hold on for now, okay? Just hold on, okay? I want to take some pictures. We have the evidence. She's tight, chained down by the neck. Okay, go ahead.
She's unable to catch her breath, almost hyperventilating as she sobs. Her face is obscured for her protection, but even the censored image is heartbreaking all the same. As the officer moves away from the car, she says, "Please lock them up."
Okay, let's back them up. Let's go inside. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead, do it.
The officers around the vehicle listen to the woman as she talks to them, though exactly what she's saying is difficult to decipher. Shortly after, another officer undoes the set of chains, which you can hear being removed from their routing.
Come on, okay. Go this way. Come, hold on. Hold on. There. Got another hand, okay? Is that it? Just hold on. Hold on, we're not sure. Yeah, you check them, no?
He had me earlier and I got him to take him off.
The woman then exits the vehicle as she continues to hyperventilate and cry. She says to her saviors, "Oh my God, how did you find me?" As the police continue to undo the chains all over her body, she says they choked me out like 6 times. Even now that she's safe, the woman is clearly traumatized from her experience.
He choked me out like 6 times.
I don't got a key for this one, guys. Sarge, I don't got a key for the neck one. Okay. Here it is. Okay, hold on, give me time.
Once she's freed from all her chains, she begins to tell the officers what really happened to her.
I was in Las Vegas. He broke into my Las Vegas apartment and stole me from my home.
Las Vegas, Mexico?
Nevada.
Nevada?
He fucking hauled ass.
Do you know the guy?
Yeah, he's my ex-boyfriend. How did you know?
They called us and told us.
Who did?
I was up at the office trying to run him, see if we had anything on him.
My God.
The woman was apparently ripped from her very own home by someone she once trusted. The perpetrator of this heinous crime is none other than her own ex-boyfriend who ripped her from her house, threw her in the back of his car, and chained her up. This woman is living a horror story.
No. He dragged me out of the place and I so hard because I was like, this is how you die. And I think a neighbor saw me getting dragged out.
The woman, who reveals her name is Jane, is then taken to an ambulance where her treatment and healing can begin.
Oh my God.
Step up, okay? Not trying. Let you guys everything.
The footage then cuts to the perspective of the back seat of the vehicle from the beginning, where we see the driver, Jane's ex-boyfriend. The audio is garbled and low quality, but you can see in this man's face that something isn't quite right. When he looks into the camera, it's like he's seeing into your very soul. After several minutes of complete silence, the perpetrator begins to sing a song under his breath and then asks a pretty strange question.
Got a favorite hymn?
What's that?
You got a favorite hymn?
A person who just committed an act of pure evil and malice asking about hymns is more than a little unsettling, but the worst is yet to come. He sings the entirety of Amazing Grace, give or take a verse. You can almost feel the cop's discomfort as the singing goes on for minutes. The man announces that he's a Christian man and asks if it would be possible to get his Bible and hymnal from his truck. It seems he's more concerned about these books than he was for the well-being of his ex-girlfriend.
You a Christian man?
Yeah, I am. You?
I am. In my van, there's a Bible, a Nelson Bible, and a Baptist hymnal. Are there any chances I could get those?
I'm pretty sure. Your vehicle's gonna be right up the road anyway, so.
He then exits the vehicle, but not before making a comment.
Put him hold down. Nope, girls.
Wear shoes next time.
One would hope that there isn't a next time. The footage then cuts to the backseat of a different vehicle. This one contains the passenger from the kidnapping vehicle as they're being transported to the police station.
I thought you were handing me the hat.
What's that?
I thought you were handing me the hat.
Oh, okay. Cold back there?
It is kinda.
Alright, just turn on the
The accomplice makes several unsuccessful attempts to speak with the officer driving the car and spends most of the drive sitting in silence before exiting the vehicle at the station.
Can you help me out?
Hold on.
Well, I don't think I need the help.
This is where the footage ends. Later, it was revealed that the goal of the kidnapping was to take Jane to a cave, brainwash her, and force her to marry either Jack Morgan, the ex-boyfriend, or Sophie Brown, Jack's new lover. Both Jack and Sophie were charged with kidnapping and false imprisonment. There are a ton of people looking to contact 911 at every given time. Oftentimes, it's a life-threatening situation, and when dispatch fails to respond, lives may be lost. So when an 11-year-old girl texted 911 to report that her friend had been kidnapped by armed men, the police swung into action, calling a manhunt and searching all over the place. Imagine the disappointment when they discovered that the whole thing was a hoax and there was no kidnapping event. To teach the child the dangers of her actions, she was arrested and taken away. Here's footage of her arrest.
Stay calm. You can talk to your parents. We can open the window and let you talk to them. Nothing's going to happen to you. Do you understand that? Okay.
I'm telling you this right now, you're going to take this as a lesson at 11 years old, that if you do something stupid in the future, you're going to enjoy those cuffs.
I'm not going to do this again.
You know, this is going to be an opportunity for you to turn this into a learning experience. This is not something you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life.
She can be heard saying she'd never do it again. The response from the cops is perfect. They explain that this could be a learning experience. Some people need actual help while the police were chasing a mirage here. More dangerous things are happening elsewhere. This video was captured in Hillsborough, Florida on the 10th of October. It was late evening when a distraught father flagged down a cop car saying someone had stolen his vehicle. But it wasn't just the ride that had this man in such distress. He had something more precious in the stolen vehicle. His 4- and 8-year-old children. You shouldn't leave kids inside a vehicle. That's one way to avoid a situation like this. The cops were quick, and in a matter of minutes they had the car in their sights. This is the moment the officer caught up with the truck and commanded the driver to stop and pull over.
Stop the truck! Now! Pull into the parking lot!
The questioning began, and the man behind the wheel, a man who looked creepy and couldn't answer any of the cops' questions. As the man's being pulled out of the vehicle, you can hear one of the kids say, "That's not my dad."
Alright, step out of the car.
That's not my dad.
Step out of the car, bro.
I know where your dad is.
I know where your dad is. I saw him running this way.
The only thing the kidnapper manages to say is weird. It's not me.
Are you gonna step out? I cannot leave you. Give me the car keys. Give me the car keys.
He says that repeatedly, and it makes you wonder who it might be. Is it some spirit out of a medieval era novel? He was arrested on the scene and charged with carjacking and 2 counts of attempted kidnapping. It was 5:30 p.m. and a little child of 6 was riding her bike just close to her home when something completely unexpected happened. A stranger grabbed her and threw her quickly into his car. Here's a cop body cam video of the moment the little child was saved from the kidnapper.
Stay right there. Stay right there.
Hello. It's okay. Come here. It's okay.
Things would have gone a lot differently but for the quick thinking of the good neighbor who saw it all and didn't keep quiet. Mr. Weatherford got in his car quickly and gave chase. He didn't care about what weapons the kidnapper might have on him, he just knew he had to do something, and he did. He stopped when he saw the cops, but he already got an important piece of evidence that would help the cops find the kidnapper. A detailed description and a partial plate number for the car. The police swung into action immediately, and in a matter of minutes they had the car in their sight. The girl was saved while the 40-year-old kidnapper was taken into custody.
See your hands!
Okay, what's your exact location?
Hands!
This was resolved quickly due to the vigilance of a neighbor, but such situations could have been avoided altogether if the parents of the child had been a little more careful. A child of 6 should be watched more closely to safeguard against this and other ills. This is another case helped towards a happy resolution by a total stranger. If you hear something, say something is held to a high standard by this man who called the cops when he heard the screams of a woman coming from a van. He didn't just call the cops. He followed the van and kept calling the police while making sure he had the van in his sights. The kidnapper is Sanders, a homeless man from Los Angeles who had only been in Alabama for a couple of months. But he's not like every other homeless person. His rap sheet could easily belong to a hardened criminal. Here's the moment the cops pull him out of his van, kicking and screaming. Moments before he was pulled out of his van and cuffed, a Good Samaritan had called the police to report hearing a woman scream. The kidnapper had attempted to drag the woman into the woods, but she put up more fight than he bargained for and he was forced to put her in the van. Sanders wasn't willing to give up easily. He held the victim at knife point inside the vehicle as the cops surrounded the vehicle. Watch as the cops pull the victim out of the van after tasing Sanders. What the cops found inside the van will give you the chills. Sanders had turned the inside of the van into a cage. Wires covered the windows and every inlet for light was blocked up. This makes you wonder if this is the first time he is using it for abduction. Watch the fortress he made the van into. Again, it's all down to that Good Samaritan who made sure Sanders didn't get out of the area with his victim. Remember, if you see something, say something. You might be saving a life. A pickup truck is pulled over for a suspected DUI around 1 a.m. after swerving and driving erratically in Albuquerque, New Mexico. When an officer approaches the driver's side window, he's greeted by Jeremy Guthrie, a 41-year-old man who does in fact seem a little intoxicated. But that's not the worst part.
You have a bunch of kids in the car. How many kids? You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who are these kids to you?
This is my friend.
That's your friend?
In the car with Guthrie were 6 underage teens, a mix of boys and girls. Guthrie drunkenly acknowledges that these passengers are his friends. If your stomach is beginning to turn, your worst fears are about to be confirmed. Chest cam footage of the incident shows the interaction police have with Guthrie after they pull him over, which doesn't get off to a good start.
Hey there.
Hello.
How are you?
All right.
Just all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Should driver license?
Yeah.
When asked for his identification, Guthrie begins sifting through trash in his car. This goes on for a while until the officer points out the things he's looking for is in his lap.
There's your wallet right there between your legs.
Sorry, I was a little bit nervous.
Guthrie's movements don't appear to be those of a sober person, and the involvement of alcohol is looking more certain all the time. The officer explains why he pulled Guthrie over and what drew suspicion to him. He thought he was going to crash.
Huh? That's it. You mentioned that you were nervous? Right. I was nervous while I was behind you driving down I-40. You were in lane number 1. At times, you went all the way from lane number 1 all the way over. Didn't use a signal, had problems keeping your vehicle one lane. And then, when you merge on from westbound 40 to northbound 25, you took that curve way too fast.
I did. I'm sorry.
I thought you were going to crash.
No, I don't.
I didn't say. I don't think so. I'm just saying I thought you were going to crash.
This is when the officer brings attention to the children in the car. Guthrie claims the girl in the passenger seat, clearly a minor, was 18. Things do not go well from here.
Yeah. How old's your friend?
18.
That girl's not 18?
Huh?
That girl's not 18?
Yeah.
No, she's not.
No, I don't think she is.
That girl's not 18. Trust me. She don't look 18.
The officer then asks the girl directly how old she is, but she refuses to answer.
Ma'am, how old are you? I didn't ask you your name. I asked you how old you were.
This is when Guthrie is asked to get out of the vehicle, and another stomach-turning development shows itself.
Come on out.
Not only are Guthrie's pants undone, he has buttons instead of a zipper to secure the flap of his pants. If that doesn't scream I'm a psycho, then I don't know what does.
Why's your zipper, your buttons down on your crotch?
Well, I probably just forgot.
Okay.
First, Guthrie explains his indecency by saying he just forgot after he relieved himself, but he's so drunk that you can almost see the gears failing to turn his head to produce more words. Now the officer begins to question Guthrie about his drinking that night. He at first states that he hadn't had anything to drink, but then says he'd had a few drinks several hours before. The officer picks up on this narrative weakness immediately.
When did you last drink?
Like, probably, it's been a little while.
Like, an hour?
I would say it's more than yeah.
Like, maybe 2?
Yeah.
Roughly? Okay.
Like 2 hours.
That's fair. Because you know what? 2 hours is totally different than, no, I haven't been drinking. You know what I mean?
Guthrie can't keep up with the cop's line of questioning. The officer then asks again about the children in the car, and Guthrie seems reluctant to answer. He states again that they're his friends and admits that he himself is 41. The officer gives up on questioning Guthrie and moves to question the passengers. At first, the teens are combative and not willing to answer the cop's questions. It doesn't take long for him to convince them to come clean, though, and they reveal that they're all either 13 or 14 years old.
Okay, how old are you? 14. Thank you. Simple question.
14.
Really 14?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
14.
Okay.
13.
Okay. 13. Okay. 14. Okay. Who's this guy to anybody?
That's our homies. And then she knows his kid.
Okay. So, that there's your homie? Okay, so you guys all need to call your parents.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. And have your parents meet us here.
This is well below legal age, and definitely too young to be hanging out with a 41-year-old man they don't know that well. The officer then has the teens call their parents to pick them up, and he even speaks to a few of them to get them up to speed on the situation.
This is Sergeant LaFay with State Police, and your son, along with I'm guessing five of his other buddies, they were in a vehicle with somebody some man. It's a grown adult who has no business driving, and so he's out now doing field sobriety tests, and these kids need to be picked up.
As the officer speaks to the teens and their parents, another officer conducts sobriety tests on Guthrie, who's just as drunken and confused as ever.
So just to make sure that you're okay to drive, okay, would you mind doing a couple of field sobriety tests just to make sure?
Yeah.
Yeah? You would mind, or you would want to do them?
What's it?
He initially doesn't want to do the tests, more likely because he knows he's going to fail them. However, after being informed he'll be placed under arrest if he declines the test, he decides to take his chances.
Are you going to stop the test then?
I can still test.
After bumbling through the final test, the officers place Guthrie under arrest and load him into the back of their vehicle. Before the footage ends, Guthrie is confused one more time. This time by his Miranda rights.
Do you understand each of these rights as I've explained to you?
Sorry, could you say that again?
Yes or no?
Okay.
Yes or no?
Jeremy Guthrie was charged with driving under the influence and 6 counts of child abuse. Later, the case expanded to include charges of sexual assault against a minor after it was revealed that he'd had a relationship with one of the 13-year-olds in his car from when she was 12, and he'd even gotten her pregnant. That pregnancy resulted in a miscarriage. Guthrie continued to communicate with the girl behind bars using a guard's cell phone. Here's the heartwarming moment a smart gas station clerk helped stop a kidnapping attempt. She didn't just save the victim from her kidnappers, she also made sure the kidnappers faced the law swiftly. The victim came into the gas station scared and asking for help. You can see her in a black skirt. She explained that she'd been kidnapped but had managed to beg her captors to allow her to use the bathroom in the gas station. Her captors weren't just your run-of-the-mill men, they were armed with guns and were waiting in a car outside. Watch as she grabs the clerk's hands to share her gory story. The clerk slipped her phone to the victim and asked her to call 911 before locking her in the bathroom. She then locked the front door, but thinking that it would spook the kidnappers, she unlocked it, allowing the men into the store. Minutes later, the cops arrived with guns at the ready. The kidnappers were all arrested while the victim was saved by the quick wit of the gas station clerk. The victim had been kidnapped a day earlier, and she'll be eternally grateful for the quick wit of that clerk. A child abducted in front of a liquor store in Wichita, Kansas has been rescued just before the Kansas-Oklahoma state lines. Just like we've seen a few times already, a carjacker stole a vehicle he thought was empty, but it wasn't as empty as he had thought. Law enforcement didn't actively chase the suspect, but seeing that he was headed to Oklahoma, they alerted the Oklahoma Highway Patrol who lined the I-35, waiting for the suspect in the vehicle. Here's the moment before the suspect was stopped and forced out of the vehicle before the 6-year-old child was rescued. Officers say the first thing the child said the moment she was rescued was, "I don't think that's my daddy."
We have one detained. We have the child also. No vehicle.
When Amanda Berry made the 911 call that will set freedom in motion for her fellow captives, these were her first words. "I've been kidnapped and have been missing for 10 years. I'm here, I'm free now." She was brave and selfless, knowing there were other women held captive in the house she'd escaped from. She led the cops right to it, and 2 more women like her were saved on that day. Here are the cops rushing to the door of the kidnapper, Ariel Castro's den. Across the street you can see Amanda Berry holding the child she birthed in captivity, watching freedom descend for the others held within the monstrous house. 2 more women, Gina De Jesus and Michelle Knight, were rescued from that house. Each of these 3 women had spent at least 9 years in captivity, suffering several degrees of assault before freedom came. A kidnapped victim at an airport is a scary thought. The moment the victim gets on that plane, the chances of ever finding and rescuing them becomes very slim. Behavior detection officers working with the TSA noticed strange behavior from a 25-year-old woman who was nervous, trembling, and appeared to be covering up some injuries on her face. She was at the ticket counter when the officers noticed this. On questioning her, they discovered that she'd been beaten and she confessed to being held against her will. Their keen eyes had found this woman and their quick reaction led to her rescue and freedom. In this clip, you can see a man throwing a woman over his shoulder and marching off in broad daylight under the eyes of bystanders and passerby. The man in the footage is 22-year-old Carl Gravitt. You can see the moment the woman ran out of the gas station's convenience store, dashing towards the truck of another man who was filling his tank. She tried to hide under his car, but Gravitt found her, pulled her out, and threw her over his shoulder, then carried her to his car, and they can be seen driving out of the gas station immediately. Witnesses say she was kicking and screaming as she was carried to the vehicle. She also kept asking bystanders for help. They say she kept saying, "Help me, please, help me," even as she was being carried to the car. Instead of helping her, bystanders reported the incident to the cops, and the police, having watched the surveillance videos, issued an immediate Amber Alert, thinking the abducted woman was a minor due to her small stature and the size 3 shoe that had been left back at the scene. It turns out the woman is 35 and in a relationship with Gravitt. The young man has since been arrested and charged with kidnapping, assault, and other charges. This woman's attempt to break out of what is definitely a toxic relationship is commendable, and if it did nothing, it drew everyone's attention to her plight and led to the arrest of her abusive boyfriend. Here's the moment 2 women walking with a child in a stroller are chased off by another woman who claims the child in the stroller is hers. She comes out of nowhere and the women are forced to run and leave the child in the stroller. A bystander stepped in, standing between the child in the stroller and the woman claiming to be the mother. He kept the crazy-looking woman from the child until the ladies returned to take the child to safety. The shock on the faces of these women is mirrored in mine as I imagine what could have happened if the stranger wasn't there to protect the child. Police in Fayetteville, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, received a report of a kidnapping in progress around 11 p.m. Police couldn't have known at this point how tragic this kidnapping would become just a few hours later. 20-year-old Cameron Hopkins showed up at a Wingstop restaurant late that evening as his ex-girlfriend, Kalia Jones, was working her shift. A couple of patrons from the restaurant that night were questioned to see what they observed.
What happened is, when we came in, I don't even recall whether he was already here or he came in after we were here. He proceeded to go in the back, accosted her back toward the rear of the store, grabbed her by the arm, and walked her out of here with a weapon.
Apparently, when Hopkins entered the restaurant as a typical customer until he grew impatient, went to the back of the restaurant and forced Jones out of the building and into his car at gunpoint using some type of handgun. Chest cam footage shows officers inside their pursuit vehicle as they chase Hopkins down at speeds in excess of 100 miles per hour. You can't see much from the perspective of this particular chest cam, but you can see trees and streetlights whipping past the windshield as the driver does everything he can to catch up to Hopkins.
Over 100, about 105. McDonough Road coming up on Bogus Road.
He's blacking out.
The pursuit continues in dangerous conditions as unknowing citizens go about their evenings in oncoming traffic. The chase carries over from Fayette County into Clayton County as Hopkins tries to evade police. Dashcam footage shows the moment police decide to end the chase by ramming the kidnapper's car as it turns into Lovejoy High School. Then, terror strikes.
Hang on,
Radio, shots fired, shots fired. Hey, I'm behind you, I'm behind you. Where is he? I don't know. Look right here, they're still in the vehicle with shots being fired. Units advised, Clayton.
Police hear gunshots from the kidnapper's vehicle as they exit their own, and the danger of the situation escalates exponentially. The officers take cover behind their car with their guns drawn as they wait for orders. The footage provided doesn't show what happens next, but reports say that Cameron opened fire on police from inside his car before he turned the gun on Kalia Jones and shot her several times. Police then fired chemical irritants into his car, which convinced Hopkins to surrender.
He's coming out. No, I got this out. He's coming out.
Down him right there by the car. The passenger door.
Climb out.
Yeah, he's gonna climb out.
Yeah, make him climb out.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Just come out of the car for us.
Get
on the ground. Get on the ground, man. Keep your hands right there.
On the ground.
Unfortunately, it's clear to the officers, even from their vantage point, that Kalia Jones wasn't able to survive her wounds. Later in the footage, Hopkins can be heard crying and asking for Jones as police pour water in his eyes to soothe them from the chemicals they used.
Okay, no, because the gun went off on her. Okay, okay. We're not arguing with you, dude.
All right, we're
Stick your head out.
Stick your head out. We're gonna dump this on you so you can get some of that OC out of your eye.
Turn your head the other way.
Where is she? Yes or no? Do you want more water? Can I use some more?
Apparently, Hopkins told police that she had the gun and she shot herself, but they don't believe that to be true. One cop said, "I think he's full of shit."
I think he's full of He said she had the gun and she shot herself.
No, it was him. I could clean as day. He was coming around with it, and that's why I bailed.
I'm just saying, that's what well, I know. That's when you jumped out, and I jumped out. I heard the shot, so I was like...
Cameron Hopkins is facing charges of kidnapping and aggravated assault in Fayette County, and murder as well as possession of a weapon in Clayton County.